Welcome to Scoop World Order. We are marching along. We got Rutgers on the menu next for the Buckeyes. They have to go out to Piscataway. A tough team. Greg Schiano's got that team cooking 6-2. Coming off a bye week, that's always kind of treacherous. Coming off a road night game, and your opponent has a bye week, and they have the home game. Obviously, huge talent mismatch in terms of in favoring the Buckeyes. But you just got to keep winning it by 1 point every single week. That's what we always talk about. They had a nice one last night. Team's a little banged up, but I think guys will rest up and be ready to rock on Saturday. Luckily it's a noon game, so we can get in, get out, get healthy, and get rolling towards Michigan State the following week. And also, there's some more breaking news in Ann Arbor every day. It's the gift that keeps on giving. A lot of reports about the NFL potentially blocking him or suspending him, a la Jim Tressel. Obviously, Jim Tressel did not go to the NFL to be a head coach, but he was an advisor with the Colts, suspended for a large portion of the season due to the Tatgate scandal. So that's the precedence. I believe, for an NFL owner, is Jim Harbaugh, is the juice worth the squeeze of potentially hiring a guy that would be suspended for a large portion of his first season and you have to pay him? I don't think so. So that'd be a PR nightmare for whatever franchise with them. Frankly, I don't think Jim Harbaugh is worth it given the scandal that he is embroiled in right now. And did Michigan pull $100 million deal that Jim Harbaugh hadn't signed yet off the table in wake of all of the Spygate, Cameragate, Wolverine Gate, whatever it is? But we're going to get into all that. As always, we appreciate you guys kicking it with us all week. Again, we've had a fantastic run for the last 10 or so days. Huge numbers, huge growth. A lot of new subscribers. We appreciate all of you. All you new members to BuckeyesScoop.com, we appreciate you as well. It's our premium message board. We're on that all day, rocking NFL Sunday, talking Ohio State, talking about the rest of the season, talking about McCord, Trey Henderson, a lot of good stuff going on. So if you enjoy this content on this YouTube channel, please click like, also click subscribe, and click that little alert bell. You're going to alert every time we go live. Also, for you audiophiles who love the audio version of the show, we are on every podcast format known to man. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Search Buckeye Scoop. You will find our podcast, the audio versions. If you like to listen to those on your way into work, go ahead and auto download those every morning. We appreciate your support on all of our formats, as always. But now, let's get to my man at Nevada Buck. Nevada, you had a really good tip last week that one of the sticking points in the Harbaugh drama was the fact that there was a lot of speculation around his contract, potentially had he signed it, had he not signed it. Our girl Angelique up in Michigan is reporting that Michigan has rescinded the offer without the signature. Your thoughts on that? Again, this is it's always kind of in the shadows when these guys kind of negotiate in the dark. Not all these coaches want big prominent announcements when they have these huge contract extensions. That has a lot of pressure. Sometimes they just like to work in the shadows. But your thoughts on everything going on in Ann Arbor right now?
Well, the contract one's interesting because, the information that we'd gotten last week is that there was a contract that had been signed that had not yet been announced. And, it seems to have morphed from signed to at least terms agreed to, but certainly not yet announced. And the word coming out today on the Wall Street Journal was that this contract that was probably in excess of 9 figures was completely pulled. And that should just tell you all you need to know about the seriousness. For any of the people that are out there on the fence, like kind of going, well, how serious is this really? How serious is what? I think the only thing that saves people from, I'd say people, Michigan fans, the only thing that saves Michigan fans from completely lining up and letting killing themselves right now is the fact that there's no precedent for this because no one's ever cheated on an industrial scale quite like this before. So they're just kind of holding out hope that maybe it's so big, maybe this cheating scandal is so massive that it'll just escape detection and we'll move on to something else. And that's what they're hoping for. But, it's not going to happen. And the Michigan brand has been permanently tarnished. Permanently. I think, for the rest of our lifetime, collective lifetimes, they'll be known as the cheating school. They'll be known as the cheaters. And that's just kind of where they are right now. Much like at Penn State, you wouldn't dare go to the showers in Penn State. And the stick of that Sandusky thing is going to be around for a long time. And Michigan is the cheaters. And that's just the way it is. And I think you just got to, I think this latest news, I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. I think it's the first step. I heard there's a board meeting that's been called. What could possibly come out of that? It's not going to be good. Nothing that's going to come out of this stuff is going to be good. And Jim Harbaugh's got a press conference, his weekly press conference tomorrow at Monday. I mean,
Oh God.
can you imagine what a complete circus that is going to be? He's going to get there and say, "Well, I only want to talk about our upcoming thing. I don't want to talk about,
Yeah, Purdue.
the
I only want to talk about Purdue. That's it.
I don't want to talk about any of the cheating that we've done for the last 2 years, or any of the information that we've done, or any of the rules that we've broken, or any of the illegality of my son allegedly that he was involved in. I don't want to talk about any of that stuff. So no, I just think big stuff happening. I think the only thing that's kind of saved Michigan from this just being a complete circus has been the bye week this week. The fact that they didn't have to hear about it, but
Yep.
now that's over. It's starting tomorrow, man. It it gets real, and it's gonna be relentless. And when the national media guys are all on the story, whether it be print, whether it be electronic, whether it be talk radio, all the talk radio guys, this is the number one trending topic on talk radio right now is Michigan cheating. And like I said, I cannot wait to see what the outcome, how quickly they get to the outcome on this. But I'm kind of enjoying the Michigan fans just kind of twisting in the wind, just not knowing when. It's kind of like they have the sword of Damocles hanging over their head. They just don't know
Yep.
when it's going to fall, but it's going to fall. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, I think Sue said the meeting is tonight. Appreciate you, Mello. Mello, you're in here every night. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate all of our regulars, brass tacks, some of you guys that are in here. Appreciate you guys. I honestly don't know, and I'm a guy that studies football. I love the history of football. I watch old NFL film stuff all the time. I've seen all the long careers basically across the two major levels of football, college and pro. I don't know if I've ever seen a coaching tenure like Jim Harbaugh's. Like Jim Harbaugh, when he showed up, when he left the 49ers to go to Michigan, he was kind of billed as like their Urban Meyer. Like he was going to take them to that next level. And he has, by cheating, he's taken them to this that S tier, the highest tier level of college football the last 2 years. But a few years ago, 3-4 years ago, I mean, they made him take a pay cut. I mean, they made him go from $8 million a year to $4 million a year, which I don't know if I've ever seen a head coach take a 50% coupon on his salary and stay for longer than a year. But he stuck around. They got magically way better, after they had our boy Watergate out there filming all the signals. But I just, and then he has this 2-year run where they're, really good, by cheating. And then he gets offered a $100 million deal and he doesn't sign it. Well, I don't know why he doesn't sign that immediately. And, and I think it's because he still wants to go to the NFL. Again, he interviewed with the Vikings 2 years ago. He interviewed with the Broncos this past year. Again, I just think that when something's rocking the way Michigan's been rocking the last 2 years and all of these assistants are jumping ship, it's because they know what they're doing. And it's kind of like being an executive at Enron and trying to get out before the posse gets here, before the feds show up and raid the office and take the servers, or it's like working for Bernie Madoff. Like you just want to get out before anyone associates you with it. And that's why I think those coordinators, Matt Weiss got fired, but the D coordinator went to the Ravens. Gaddis got out of there. It just seemed weird. Like Gaddis leaving and going to Miami, which is a dumpster fire every year, made zero sense to me when he could have stuck at Michigan for another year, became a potential head coaching candidate. Nevada, have you ever seen a coaching tenure like Jim Harbaugh's, where he shows up to gaudy fanfare, like when Urban Meyer showed up in 2012? They start off pretty decent. 16, they were pretty good. 18, they were pretty good. We waxed them both years. And then they dipped a little bit. 2020, they dodged us completely. 19, we whooped them. And then they 50% pay cut. Then they have this huge run the last 2 years when they start cheating. $100 million extension. And then the extension is rescinded. Have you ever seen anything like this?
No. And again, this tumultuousness kind of follows Harbaugh wherever he goes. But, the interesting thing in college football or in the pros or in any level, when you get good, there's usually, you can do a regression analysis and you can figure out why a team got good.
Yep.
Colorado, really bad. Colorado Prime comes in and brings in 50 new guys and Travis Hunter and his kid, and they got better. They're not good, or they're not definitely great, but they're better than they were but that's
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
reason. NFL team, drafts C.J. Stroud or Trevor Lawrence, or has high draft picks or signed free agents or something like that. With Michigan, they're getting good. Just seem to come out of nowhere. Their recruiting hadn't gotten better. There wasn't like magical transfer. There's some guys on the offensive line, but there was nothing magical that happened. The only thing that was magical is they started cheating, and they
Yeah.
started cheating. They started stealing signs, and I mean no, but I mean let's just be real. That's what happened, and
Yeah.
I like I think for me as I look back, it's changed fundamentally the way that I look at Ryan Day. It's changed fundamentally the way I look at C.J. Stroud, his legacy at Ohio State. I give Ohio State a complete pass these certainly last year and probably the year before that, just because I mean, I know that what Michigan was doing, Michigan knows what they were doing. They were doing stuff illegal. And the only possible remedy for that is to vacate all of those wins and then to have some sort of, you know, you know, Ragnarok Thor hammer come down on them and clean out that program and disqualify them from participating. Because, I just saw a big school in Tennessee, a big high school in Tennessee, like a high school defending state champion, had to forfeit their games for using an illegal player. And what's the difference between using an illegal player and what they've done here for the first 7, 8 games of this year? That they were cheating. Greg Schiano was calling it out at halftime to that oblivious sideline reporter. They were using illegal methods to further competitive advantage on the field. I think they should be made to forfeit the games, and I think that if the new commissioner brought that to the executive committee, I think he'd get 13 votes in favor of sanctioning Michigan on this. I don't think Michigan would have a single vote other than their own in defense of it, and I frankly think that's the path forward.
Yeah, and the thing about Schiano is, even though he's Urban's guy, he worked with Ryan for a year, so they know each other, and they got heated up a few years ago. But when you look at this play sheet, I'm going to throw this up on the board real quick. I mean, this was from the 18 game, when they had Keenan Bailey, and they say he's in the, and this is credit Zach Smith. They got so I mean, when you find something like this, because obviously if Zach has it, Ryan knows about it, because Ryan, was the guy that received this, and they found this. And like I said, when Greg Madison and Al Washington showed up into the Woody Hayes, I'm sure they said, "Hey, Ryan, by the way, we pick your signals every year, and this is how we do it, and this is what we do, and here's some of our notes." Because when people change teams, and again, we had a bunch of support staffers from Michigan come with Madison and Al Washington that were Michigan guys that came, so I'm sure that Ryan got a very nice dissertation on how they break signals. Now, they probably didn't say, "Hey, we send this Colton dude or whatever, Mr. Stallions, to your sideline and video everything." But, Greg Schiano knew about all this. So he was trying to sound the alarm. Obviously, the sideline reporter was a little obtuse to the fact that he said, there's some really funny business going on down here, but he knew what was going on. But I think that, like the amount of information that we're getting. And again, it'll be really fascinating to me to see when they really get into everything and the full report, because there's going to be a full report that's going to come out. And it's going to say, this is the Michigan cheating report by the NCAA, and they're going to have a big announcement. It's going to say, this is what they did. It'll be really interesting to see if they were picking signs in game with video. Now, I know that you can look across with binoculars and pick signs and do that type of thing, but if they were using video to splice it together in real time with their film. Because again, at halftime, they magically got way better on offense and defense every year. And people talk about like halftime adjustments, and I think that those are supremely overrated, because no good team waits till halftime to adjust their defense or their offense. They adjust between every series. I mean, they're on the sideline. They got the grease board. We're the only level of football that is dumb enough to not have tablets, because in high school, you're allowed to have tablets. In the NFL, you're allowed to have tablets. And by tablets, I mean little iPads where you can see either live video or you can see still photos like in the NFL of the plays. But I'm just telling you, I think that's something that they need to add technology-wise to just even the playing fields, that everybody should be allowed to have video on the sideline. But it'd be interesting to see if they were picking the sidelines with video and splicing them together in real time and having a couple dudes in the locker room crack that. Because with technology, you can do that now. That's not very hard to do. And that would be completely illegal, but I think that'd be even more beneficial than picking signs in the 8 weeks leading up to the Michigan game is doing it live and getting the first half signs. Nevada, what's next? Appreciate all these super chats. We got 3 of them in here, so thank you, ZZM, Mello, Troop Dog. Appreciate you guys. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and type those in, and I'll get those answered. What happens this week? Give me your projection for Michigan this week, because I just think that it's it's a feeding frenzy. Again, I'm telling you, when these investigative journalists get on the scent, man, it's like they're all dying to be the next person. On the NFL, even on the NFL Insider Show with a massive amount of great football games today, great early slate, afternoon slate, good Sunday game tonight. The lead story was still Jim Harbaugh potentially being blocked by Roger Goodell, a la Jim Tressel. That's the precedent. If you get sanctioned in college, somehow Pete Carroll skipped that, but Chip Kelly skipped that, but Trust didn't skip that. They smacked him pretty hard. I think it was like 6 or 7 games. He had to be suspended when he went to work as an analyst for the Colts. But Jim Harbaugh isn't going to be an analyst. He wants to be a head coach somewhere. And I think if you're an NFL owner and you're trying to sell a hire to a fan base who you need to buy PSL season tickets, luxury suites, and you say, hey, we're going to hire Jim Harbaugh, who got busted for cheating and he's suspended for the first 10 games of the season. That is almost like a death knell to me for that head coaching job. I imagine you could maybe be an analyst or position coach, but I don't think he has any interest in doing either of those, but maybe do that for a year to absorb the suspension. But what's your projection for this week's wackiness at Michigan?
Well, we can get into that, but I got a question for you. There's a story that came out today about that Ryan. Again, file this in the category of Michigan is the victim. Okay, you got to remember everything. Michigan is the victim of this horrible campaign, and that Ryan Day had hired his brother's private investigating firm, and they had hacked the servers and got this information, and they were the ones that were doing it. Now, was that a giant troll job by Zach Smith on the Michigan?
I have to call Zach, because that is legendary. If he did, that was the big Inspector Clouseau moment of the day, is that Ryan Day's brother, who's his thing is called Fourth and Inches or some stupid name, is the name of his PI firm, and Ryan Day hired his own brother to be the PI firm, and Ryan, Ryan and us, we've had disagreements, but Ryan is a smart guy. He's not that stupid. It was like when he went after Will Muschamp and Mark D'Antonio in 2021, when our defense was absolutely terrible. He did that after the Oregon game. He didn't call those guys. He had his people's call their people's and see if there would be interest. Ryan isn't going to directly do anything, and he surely isn't going to call his brother, and have some sort of trail where it's Ryan Day's brother is sitting outside of Schembechler Hall, tailing Jim Harbaugh on his way to go eat his his peanut butter smoothie and get his khakis picked up from the dry cleaner. That's obscenely stupid. And the Michigan media actually went with that, which is, it literally reminds me of Tatgate, when there were so many dumb stories that came out during the Jim Tressel Tatgate era. It was almost unbelievable. And people literally at that point believed anything. But what was your thought on that? I read that and I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. But again, people will literally believe anything at this point, especially people like Michigan fans who they don't want to go back to the Rich Rod days. They don't want to go back to the Brady Hoke days and the end of the Lloyd Carr tenure when they're eating filet mignon right now. They don't want to go back to Golden Corral. They don't want to go back to making $35,000 a year and being a loser like some people are. They don't. That's just not their thing. They're at the top of the food chain right now, and they don't want to go back to being a team that loses to Toledo like they did when they had Rich Rod, back in the day. But what was your thoughts on that? Because I haven't talked to you today, and I was dying to know. I think that's just an epic troll job. If that was really Zach, then God, bravo, Zach.
Well, two separate topics. One, if that's a troll job, that is up there with the legendary Teddy Heisman trolls on Torg, or the Secra thing, which was one of the great troll jobs on Urban Meyer coming to Penn State. Those were legendary. But so we got to find out from Zach if that was indeed the troll. I didn't really understand what the outrage was, though. I'm like, So I mean, I said, what's the allegation that they planted the evidence, or that they
Oh
took
my
the
god.
50 hours of practice footage and seeded it onto the computer or something like that?
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand that. And as back to Michigan, as your analogy of like they don't want to go back to Golden Corral. Michigan, you are Golden Corral. That's who
Yeah.
you are. The only way that
Yeah.
you got into STK was by cheating. Like you have no you have no recruiting base. You have no national presence. You guys,
Oh.
that's you are. So it's like, just enjoy the. I like the Golden Corral. I like Cracker Barrel. I do. Like, some people, you just got to know who you are. They are Golden Corral, man. And if you find them at STK, they're an imposter. Get them out of there, man. They don't belong to be there.
I totally agree. Troop Dog, why hasn't the massive change against the point spread made the national media? Is this for the Purdue Michigan game? I haven't seen that. I assume that's for Purdue Michigan. I don't know. I don't usually check the spreads until middle of the week. But if it
Yeah,
is, yeah, there's go.
I took that. I mean, maybe I'm reading that wrong, and maybe some clarification. I'm thinking he's talking about their
Ohio State,
remarkable.
Michigan.
No, I think he's talking about the remarkable performance against the spread, maybe, about how
Oh,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
I mean, that's out there on all the betting blogs and everything. That is
yeah.
absolutely out there. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the bettors know. Go to covers.com or any of those other places to go. Everybody knows about Michigan and their legendary second half adjustments. Um, we're gonna have to see if that continues, man. That's gonna be a really interesting story to follow.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, I keep seeing the scene from Goldfinger, the James Bond. It's probably the best James Bond movie, where the guy's playing cards, Goldfinger's playing cards at the thing, and the chick's looking through the binoculars and reading they're playing gin, and then all of a sudden James Bond gets on there and he like flicks the mic and says, "Now hear this, gold member, you got to lose $15,000, or the Miami Beach police will be here in 5." And so like, all of a sudden he doesn't have the chick looking at like his cards and listening in the earpiece. So that's what this all reminds me of. All of a sudden he lost everything. Do you think Coach Sanders is licking his chops on the Michigan O-line? That is interesting, because some of these coaches have lost their mind. Pat Narduzzi lost his mind this week. He lost his team basically by saying that, we lost some good players and we didn't do a good job of replacing them, AKA our players suck and we're still, the coaches are good, but the players suck. And that is, Urban Meyer always had the greatest line ever. He said, "There's no such thing as dumb players. There's dumb coaches, and only only loser coaches complain about their players. Because in college, in season, there's no trades, there's no free agency. It's not the NFL. You can't go work out guys on the street like you can in the league. So the guys you got are the guys you got. So you better try to figure out how to make them better, get them to block better, get them to perform better, or else you and your family are going to be out on the street." I don't know. Do I think that Michigan players will be jumping ship after this season? Yeah, I think guys that can go pro are going to go pro. I think guys that, it really just depends on how bad the sanctions are. I mean, I can imagine that the staff will get fire hosed out, and then it depends on what kind of sanctions the NCAA comes out with. Because if there's scholarship reductions, bowl bans, how many years of bowl bans? Is it multiple years? Is it 30 scholarships reduced? Because again, like with the Penn State thing, which was awful, the Jerry Sandusky thing, that was a heinous, awful, vicious, terrible crime that Jerry Sandusky did. But that didn't affect the field of play like the way this does. This literally was cheating, stealing signals, and directly affecting the play. What Sandusky did was horrific. It was one of the worst crimes in human history, what he did to those kids. And Penn State paid a massive price for that. I mean, I'm talking scholarship reductions, bowl bans. Bill O'Brien came in and did what I thought was a pretty good job of building a team that, frankly, was down 30 scholarships, and that's really tough to do. Nevada, what do you project for Michigan's penalties? Because again, I just think that as they get into this thing, there's no way that this is going to look better as they get deeper into it. The more details they find, the more servers they go through, the more people they interview, it just isn't going to get better. This thing's going to get worse and worse. I don't think people better be honest, because if you try to cross your stories up, man, this thing could get real hairy real quick. What do you project is the outcome of this and the potential sanctions for Michigan for Harbaugh's acts?
Well, I think you went right to the heart of the matter. I think I think that's what Michigan is weighing right now at these board meetings, that at the meetings that are going on separately of the board. They're trying to weigh what's the best path forward. How do we mitigate this damage most effectively, and how do we get out of this without causing more trauma? If they stonewall and they just they pull a blank we're just
Yeah.
we're not there, we're not cooperating, Harbaughs our man, blah blah. I think it could. I think it'll be the worst penalty. I mean, sure, maybe the death penalty, maybe
Yeah.
5 years of. I mean, I think it'll. I mean, if you see what Penn State got, and like as you said, Penn State's thing, indirectly affected their image and other
Yep.
things. I'm talking about when they were covering up Sandusky's crimes, but it
Yep.
didn't really go right to the playing field. This goes right to the playing field, right
Yeah.
to their beating their rival, right to their winning the Big Ten, right to their participation in the college football playoff, right to affecting other teams in terms of affecting the college football playoff. So it's the worst cheating scandal, and I think that the penalties to be commensurate. So I think it's all going to depend upon how cooperative Michigan is in this, and how willing they are to kind of self-sanction themselves. I think that's their only path forward. And they know that the Michigan people are not dumb. It's their only path forward is to go, man. We need to offer up something, huge and significant and painful, to save ourselves a more painful sanction in the future. Because as you said, this is not going away. There's no way that they can wish this one away. There's no way that they can run the clock out on this one or do whatever. And every day it's going to get worse. Every day the drum beats are going to get louder and louder. We were talking about, like, if they played through till January, can you imagine another like 60 or 70 days of this? This has been only going on like 10 days, whatever it's been. In 60 days, I like I said, just might as well just burn the whole thing down.
Yeah, I just think that at some point it's like the animal that's got cancer all through the body. You can't save it. That's what the program is at this point. So you might as well put it out of its misery and try to go get you a new one, because that's kind of what it's going to be. I mean, the longer that this goes, the more, especially like the thing about Jim Harbaugh that is striking to me is how defiant he is. How he had no idea, I had no clue. I don't know. I have absolutely nothing to do with this. But then, like, every game, this guy's standing right next to him. And again, like, some guy that's some $50,000 a year intern isn't going to be standing next to some guy making $10 million all day during game day. And then he's next to all the $2 million coordinators running around right next to him, right in their hip pocket. Like, that's the crazy thing. Because again, like, eventually people are going to be like, well, why aren't any of the other $55,000 interns ever around you? It's just this one guy. Because, these college football programs, they have like 60 guys on staff now. They've got like the top 10 coaches, and then they've got like 20 analysts and 20 interns and 4 GAs and all these old coaches. And it's like, well, why aren't the rest of the guys crowding around you and running around you the whole time? There's just this one guy, and why is he the only guy around the 2 coordinators all the time? It's like, oh, because he figured out a way to pick signals, and he's got all these videos, and he's Mr. He does his little flashcards so that he knows that when Justin Fry does this, it means it's book, and that's their read option play or whatever. I don't know. It seems a little strange, because again, I think that this is, it all comes down to money, and the money people at Michigan, just like at every university, they run the show. And when money people are embarrassed to wear that logo that they've given hundreds of millions of dollars to, $50 million to, whatever, like Stephen Ross has given $200-300 million to the University of Michigan. When he's embarrassed to wear the block M around, that's when it's bad, and it was the same thing like with Truss. And what Truss didn't hold a candle to this thing. Because again, I don't know how long it's going to take for the stain to go away. And frankly, I don't care. I hope that they're stained forever. I hope that they're like SMU. SMU, for anybody who's over the age of 20, the first thing they think of is the death penalty. And even like Duke lacrosse, which was completely fabricated, that what the harm it did to Duke's image is still lasting. So with the Michigan thing, I think it's going to be fantastic. Well, we're going to get into a couple plays just because I love breaking down some of this film, some of the scheme stuff. Nevada, did we see good Ryan Day, bad Ryan Day, okay Ryan Day? I'm going to break this play down, so hold your thought for a second, because This is good Ryan Day to me. This is a double tight end look. You got G, you got Cade. Cade did not have a reception, but he had an impact on the game. Double drag route crosser right here. Again, this is all designed for 18, so this is basically like a double fullback whammy. Cade, pick route, Marv, free, Trey, clear out. Trey, again, the thing about Trey is even when he doesn't get the ball, when he gets into that fourth, fifth step and he gets into sixth gear, he's terrifying. Like this poor guy with the neck roll and the knee brace has to go run with Trey, and you just see how fast Trey's shot out of a cannon here. So this linebacker is running off in man coverage. He's not even on the screen. And then these poor guys who ran into each other because of Cade have to check Marvin. So Marvin catches it in stride, full steam, and then Trey finally, lets this guy catch up, and he blocks him. And again, people don't talk about it. Then you see G coming over here, taking a little piece of somebody. These guys have no chance of catching Marv because Marvin, he's got the nitrous oxide coming out right here, and it's just a cakewalk. And again, Trey, all you people that hate on Trey Henderson are just so stupid because he is so good, and he's a guy that we're going to miss so much next year because he's a factor back. He is an X factor, but he comes back, deletes this guy out of the play, and Marvin doesn't even get touched. Easy touchdown, take it to 10-0. Nevada, did we see good Ryan, bad Ryan, mediocre Ryan? What was your thoughts on the play calls yesterday?
I thought it was 80% good Ryan. I thought he had one little stretch of about three possessions where he didn't have his best stuff, but no, I thought it was good Ryan, and the crossing patterns are that's vintage Ryan Day stuff. That's the stuff that when we hung the 63 points on him. Well, this guy came up to deliver the blow on Cade. He was gonna knock him off his route, but he didn't realize he was knocking everybody else off the play. And that's just so easy because, look, anyone can make that throw. Burt Carton can make that throw to Marvin Harrison right there. And it's just easy pitch and catch into the end zone. I love it when they run motion with Marvin because you're able to identify whether or not he's getting man coverage. If you see the guy going with him, he's got man. If he's got man, those crossers are going to work. So it's like there's little indicators that you can get from using him in that orbit motion, from using that traditional motion set to kind of find out what kind of defense are they playing with him. And crossing patterns with him that's stealing. I was not that this was some incredible insight, but I was calling for that in the game chat. I was just like, run the crossers, just run the crossers. They're manning him up all day, and they ran that, and boom, easy money touchdown. Great call by Ryan Day. Great execution.
Yeah. This next play, I'm not breaking this down. This is one of the picks, but I just want to highlight Trey. So he's got the corner on him, on Marvin. Corner comes, corner cat blitz. Trey's a powerful dude, man. And watch him stone this guy. Boom. Done. Moves his feet, finishes the block. This pocket is perfect. Perfect pocket. McCord throws it. Donnie loses his guy late. That's not good enough. But the rest of it, as he's throwing it, he can step into the throw. And again, it's a bad throw. This guy jumps it. This is his second pick, the cover 3 pick. So, Ryan Day kind of excuses, said he saw what he was looking at. Again, it's never an excuse to throw a pick, but the corner, sometimes if guys make a great play, it's kind of is what it is. That guy came off, made a nice play. Again, there's no excuse for it, but I think Kyle, one of the things that his biggest issue is he just locks onto Marvin a lot, man. He really, once he gets into Marvin mode, man, he is like, it's like tunnel vision to find 18. And honestly, I don't blame him just because, he is Marvin Harrison, and he is a guy that, if you're going to lock on anybody, it might as well be him, your high school teammate, a guy that you got great chemistry with. I want to focus on an interior blitz. Your boy Knowles bringing it here. This is Hancock, nickel sack right here. Love this play. They're trying to run like a little bit of an orbit motion here, a little jet sweepish type deal. They fake it. Again, these, when you're doing this, you better be protected up, man. Because if Ohio State blitzes, this thing takes about 6 years to develop. And by the time they're faking the orbit, when you got these guys coming, you got a guy like Jordan Hancock who can fly. He gets it literally right as they're faking the handoff. But what a timely call. Like, again, I just think that in terms of calling the run blitzes, as I watched the game today, I watched it again. I always watch it again, just kind of slow mo through everything. Jim Knowles really had a fantastic feel for when to bring the pressure, especially in the run game early down, because he knows if you can get Wisconsin off schedule, it's basically like you cut their legs off. They're a team that they've always been a team that as long as they're ahead of the chains, they can run the ball. That's their comfort zone. When you make them throw, that's just not their deal. I mean, you could see like watching their throwing attack. It made me thank Christ that we had Ryan Day as our offensive coordinator, head coach, passing game dude, because it just was painful to watch. The number of drops, the lack of chemistry between the receivers and the quarterback. Frankly, I know it's their backup quarterback, but that's why I never take Ryan Day for granted. Even when McCord has a bad game, it still looks way better than some of these guys that are trying to execute a throw game.
Well, what's really helped Knowles on those blitzes is he's got this intern, this Bonner Valians guy, that's been helping him identify vulnerabilities on these other teams. And since Bonner's been there, he sits next to Jim and he points out to him and he does stuff, and it's been unbelievable. He's uncanny. Like, it's just, I mean, the guy deserves. He makes $55,000 a year. He should be paid way. He should get 65,000 easily. And
Bonner Valians.
Really, yeah.
Oh God, I love it. That's going to be the new line, Bonner Valians. That'll be the new line at Spearmint Rhino. What's your name? Bonner Valians. So Bello, my man, super chat here. He said, rewind the play, look at the flat. I love this. This is something that, as he gets a little bit more experience. Cade here is basically checking the edge, does a good job. Basically it's like a 6.5 man protection. These 6 are in protection. Cade, if he doesn't have any work, he just leaks out here. If Kyle just wants some easy money right here, Cade's, that's an easy little check down. But again, he's locked onto Marvin. I get it. But that's a good call out by you, Mello. I appreciate you for that one, man. Yeah, I think like the direction of the team right now, like again, there was a lot of good yesterday. I know people, they want it to be 55-0. They want it to be like last year's game, but playing at night at Camp Randall is tough. Team, it's got some guys coming back. We didn't even play at Mecca, which is like one of those things where, I like that we can get through the game, win by a couple scores, without playing a Mecca, because Mecca is a guy that is an X factor. He's a guy that we haven't seen in a few weeks, but he's a guy that, frankly, we need for Ann Arbor. I think that the healthier that this team can be when we go up there, the better off we'll be. But what else did you glean from yesterday? They announced the MVPs of the game. Trey Henderson was the overall team MVP. Defensively, they gave it to Jack Sawyer and Tommy. I mean, Tommy, this is the play of the game. You know what play I'm coming with. I thought this was if you could put Jim Knowles' defense in a nutshell, you take this guy who's the heart and soul of the whole team, Tommy Eichenberg. You got 3rd and goal. You're from the 2-yard line. This is a Wisconsin football. This is where they're at. So they run this is kind of the Travis. This is a little shovel pass, and they run it to their best player, to Braylon Allen. So it's kind of best on best. It's their superstar running back versus our superstar linebacker, and this is why you do all the mat drills and summer conditioning and lift weights, and it's for this right here. So you got the best, one of the best running backs of the Big Ten. He's not Trey, but he's really good. He's a guy that'll get drafted. But he's a big, strong guy. He's not like a factor back like Trey is. He's not a shifty guy. He's a big old Ron Dane type dude. Not anywhere near as good as Ron Dane, but he's still pretty good. And Tommy stands him up, wrestles him back. He hangs on for dear life as Jack shows up and the rest of the crew shows up. And again, this is a battle of wills. And again, this was. And then you love seeing Ty Leak's activity. He's in on it. And they all have the mindset to keep him out, to get him away from the plane. So you see these guys rally to the ball. Nevada, was this the play of the game to you?
Yeah, it was. And look, if I'm Luke Fickell in that situation, I'm going for the touchdown on 4th down, just because. you're a 2 touchdown underdog against Ohio State. And I understand the theory of kicking the extra point. I really do. And they were able to come back out and tie the game up in the third. They're getting the ball back in the third quarter. I get that, but I would have gone for it. And so when they ran the field goal, there's two. I have two different kind of feelings sometimes. Like sometimes I want the other team to go for it. You're dependent on the situation because you feel like, hey, we can get a stop. Kind of like when Penn State went for it from their side of the field, um, and it effectively ended the game when we were able to get that second score. Uh, this was one time when they tried the field goal unit out there, and I'm just like, thank the Lord, just kick the field goal. Let's go up 10-3. Because you look at that first half and you go, we had 3 turnovers. If I tell you before the game, hey, Kirk, we're gonna have 3 turnovers in the first half. You're not thinking we're up 7 points, and you're certainly not thinking we're going to win the game by 14 up there in Camp Randall. You're thinking this is going to be a long night, and so no, it was it was a beautifully imperfect game for the Buckeyes. Lots to build off of. Lots for people to pick apart and improve. I mean, I've watched the game a couple, 2-3 times now. Carnell Tate was gone 2 or 3 times right down the middle of the field. And Kyle, it's kind of like when you play Madden. When you play Madden, sometimes you play against players, you can tell whether their eyes go to the left or whether their eyes go to the right or whether they like to go to the middle. You know what I'm saying? Kyle does not like to look down the middle of the field. He likes to look right or he likes to look deep left. He doesn't like to look down the middle of the field. We saw that with Cade Stover on that big play, when he hit a Mecca in the Notre Dame game, when Cade would have walked in. He had Carnell down the middle 2 or 3 times for deep shot scores, and he just didn't go to him. And again, it's all part of the maturation process. I mean, Kyle's never, other than that one silly game a couple years ago, he's a rookie quarterback. He's 8-0. He's never lost a game at Ohio State. And no, he didn't have his best stuff, but so what? We won. And we hadn't won by double digits up in Camp Randall in a very, very long time. Some very, very good Ohio State teams had gone up there and really struggled. So look, I am nothing but smiles, and hearing the injury reports out of the not as bad as we might have hoped. So I think that we've got good news on that front as well. So just hey, win, survive. Let's move on to Rutgers and let's enjoy the Michigan circus that's going on, because that's always entertaining. I don't know about you, but I can't get enough of this Michigan story, just because the more that it unravels, the more that's kind of laid out, and it seems like every hour you'll see a new thing, and I can't get enough of this story. I just like it's kind of like the O.J. Simpson murder trial. I don't know.
No, it is. It is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's like. It's must-see TV.
Yeah, I watched every day of the O.J. Simpson trial. I mean, I wasted so much time. I knew the testimony so well. I could have given the final statement like, Marcia Clark, man, you blew it. Chris Garden, what are you doing? What are you doing with the glove? So don't put the glove on. The glove's all shrunk up. Don't. I mean, come on, guys. But like that. This is what this is to me. This is must-see TV, and I'm loving every minute of it.
I am too. I'm going to break this one down because this was one of the catches of the year by Marvin. Going up the seam. I love Marvin and Trey next to each other. He just runs a little, this little crosser here, a little short drag, shallow drag here. And again, if you throw this to Trey, I mean, he might be gone. This guy ain't staying with him. If you catch him in stride and he breaks it that way, there's nothing. But, protection wise, we need to pick this up. I mean, this is on Jimmy. I mean, these guys are all working to him. It's a 5-man protection. They only bring, I think they only bring 4, and we leave a guy scot-free. So he needs to be better here on this, because McCourt gets rocked, but he gets rid of it just in time. Takes a little bit of a hit, but Marvin's Marvin. I mean, that's why he should win the Heisman. Again, the year Jason White won the Heisman, and they had now I'm going to show the slow-mo replay of him dropping it in the bucket here, because this is just insane. And again, this is another guy, you better enjoy him, because we don't have any games with this guy left in the shoe. And he'll be playing for the Arizona Cardinals or the Bears next year, and we're not going to get to see this guy every Saturday. So you better enjoy. He's only got 2 more shots left in the horseshoe. But, Marvin is, he's Larry Fitzgerald. He reminds me of Fitzgerald. He's a little quicker. He's a little bigger. But he just, his personality, the soft-spokenness, the overall demeanor, and the hands. I mean, he's like Fitz. And again, the year that Jason White won the Heisman, it was almost criminal that they didn't give it to Larry Fitzgerald. Well, final thoughts, Nevada. This was a good show. Again, we had the Michigan thing. Again, I think every single day there's going to be a race to get the next story, the next progression. As you know, we're about a month off from playing those guys. But your final thoughts on the Michigan deal, the contract being rescinded, the NFL stuff with Harbaugh. Your final thoughts.
No, I think we got to watch the Michigan board. I think the next move is going to be from inside of Michigan, and especially with the Harbaugh press conference tomorrow. I think you're going to see activity because they got to protect the brand, and the brand's much bigger than Jim Harbaugh. I mean, look, the program was been around for a long time. They've been cheating for a very long time and doing things, but he just took it to another level, and so they've made him. They've made him people. They like to make people, then they like to break them. They're going to break him. They're going to sacrifice him, to the NCAA gods and hope that appeases them. But I look for the next move to be from inside of Michigan because the pressure's building and they got to protect the brand.
Well, I gotta break this one down because he's the best running back in the country. Again, we ran this play all year. Everyone's hated this play because it hasn't worked. But when you give it to this guy, all of a sudden, it works, and it works really good. Donnie, good job getting up to the second level, sealing him up. The I love when Marvin and this cornerback have like a gentleman's agreement. Like, watch this at the top. Like watch these. Like, look at them. They're just like dancing. Like, they don't. I mean, it's almost like he says, "Hey, bro, I'm not going to hit you. You don't hit me. Let's chill." And then all of a sudden, he's like, "Oh! I thought we were chilling." Like, look at this. Like, look at the top of this. Like, they're like standing up. There's no effort being exerted at all. Oh! I thought we were chilling. And then it's, "Oh, hang on, I gotta go tackle this guy. Oh, he's gone." It's like, like that's the funny thing, because this is like what the NFL receivers do, and now it's like filtered down into college where these guys don't really go after each other. It's just like all of a sudden that corner. Like, I mean, Fick had to be having an absolute cow watching this, because I'm telling you, that is not Luke Fickell defense right there. These guys just kind of chilling, but that's what it was. And Trey took full advantage of it, and like he shot out of a cannon. Again, Nevada, I'd already you had the last word, but
but go back to the beginning of that play. Go back to the beginning of the play. Okay. Go back. And this is the difference between Trey and the other guys. Okay, he gets the ball. Now watch the guy come. Now go run it back. No, back. Stop. The guy coming from the top. The guy coming from the back side on the top. He's the guy that. No, other side.
Well, this is the back side. This is the front side. So
where
do you want me? The front side? Where?
Dude, the guy that comes from the top and comes from behind to try to get Trey in the hole, up on the top.
Oh, this guy?
See, that guy.
Oh.
Now, see, if you're a step slow, if you're Chip, if you're Dallin, if you're Mayan, if you're the other guy, that guy gets you. But Trey, with that burst, just goes by. So that play gets stopped in the hole with any other back on the thing, and it's a 1 yard gain or a 2 yard gain, and we're like, oh man, darn it. But he's able to burst through that, and that's where our plays are getting beaten by guys coming flat down the line. They come around the backside, and they make the play. And look at that. That guy's in position. You look at that play right there, and you kind of go, man, that guy's in a position to make the play. And all of a sudden, bang, touchdown.
But Nevada, people tell me he has no vision. He has no vision because he has no vision. Because look at this. Because this is just a very clear. This is really clear right here where he's supposed to go. Like, when you look at this, that's really clear. Like, it's really easy to see that. Like, I mean, any running back with speed, they made it real easy on him because he's just fast and he's blind. They put a blindfold on him and he just runs right in here, and magically he works his way through all of this. Like, that is the dumbest take I think I've ever heard. And there's some really dumb people on message boards that are paid by message boards to actually say that this guy doesn't have vision. But he runs into this, and look at this, and watch. Where do I pick it through? Oh, I pick it right through here, and then I go right through here. But no vision. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
No, I don't believe you. Yeah, the no vision one is just.
Oh my God.
You see his jump cut when they have the back angle. You see his jump cut.
Oh.
It's just. I mean, that was just a tremendous play, and again, for all Ohio State fans out there, I don't know about you guys, but when he broke that, I jumped way higher than a 61-year-old guy should be able to jump in my living room on that one right there.
Oh, dude, it's just so good.
It's so good. It's so
Yeah.
good. You see this play?
I mean, and honestly, our left tackle whiffs. Like, that's why the guy's in the hole. Because, like, if Jimmy Jimmy doesn't have to get some big crazy block. He just has to just hang on to this guy, and he whiffs. So you have the D end in the hole, and we're okay here. I mean, it's not great, but it's not great, but we get a little bit of movement here. We get up to the crease, and Trey, again, he cuts this all the way back behind the right tackle. So again, he has no vision. That's what all these idiots say. He cuts this all the way behind this guy. So watch, the right tackle's on, he's rolling. He runs this thing all the way back behind the right tackle. Watch. Boom. Boom. And then he hits the jump cut in the hole. Boom. And then, again, I don't know what that corner's doing with Marvin, other than maybe he's asking for an autograph or a jersey swap after the game. But, if I'm Luke Fickell, that guy's running laps. But that's just my opinion. So, but yeah, Trey Anderson's pretty good in Nevada. Who knew?
Yeah, who knew? Jim Knowles is pretty good, and Jim Harbaugh's press conference tomorrow is going to be must see TV, guys. That one you're going to have to tune in for it, because we'll break that whole thing down. We'll break down what he says, how many times he says no comment, or how many times he squints, or how many times he says some weird stuff. We'll have a whole report on that.
Yeah, their SID is going to have a blast tomorrow. They're going to be like, how many people are coming to this thing? Oh, 1,000? Pete Thamel's going to be there, and Bruce Feldman. Oh, it'll be amazing. Well, we'll wrap this thing up. We appreciate you guys for kicking it with us tonight. As always, thank you guys for being a part of our show. If you enjoy this content, join BuckeyeScoop.com, the #1 premium message board. We have a massive thread on all the latest and greatest that's going on in Ann Arbor, because honestly, I'm enjoying it. It is shot and fraud at the absolute best. Loving seeing them in pain and knowing that they're about to get hit by a nuclear warhead that is known as the NCAA, the Michigan Board of Trustees. The Michigan people are turning on Harbaugh, and it's really, really fun to watch. So that being said, as always, if you enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. Shout out where you guys are watching from. I love seeing where you guys are watching the show from. Give me your MVPs of the game. I want to see, do you agree with Trey? Do you think it should have been Marvin? The O-line, a lot of guys get game balls. Really nice went up at Camp Randall. Defensively, Tommy Eichenberg, Jack Sawyer were fantastic. They were Jim Knowles' pick for players of the game. Ty Leak was also fantastic. So give me your thoughts on players of the game. I want to see them down in the comments. And predict what happens this week up in Ann Arbor. I want to see it down in the comments. Tell me what you think is going to go down. Again, I'm about to jump on the BuckeyeScoop.com premium message board. If you guys have not joined BuckeyeScoop.com, I know what you're waiting for, because we have an awesome month coming up leading right into the Michigan game. So subscribe to BuckeyeScoop.com because it is an absolute blast. I've been on there all day, and it is always jumping. It's hopping. It's the best inside information around for Ohio State football. So we'd love to have you as our guest. That being said, as always, thank you, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you, as always. Time to go beat those Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Go see Mr. Schiano and whoop him a little bit. Go Bucks.